Jacob's acting hood isn't the greatest. Jacob comes across as about as hood as I am, which is not very much. So, what is up, my fellow Beyond the Gates fans out there? Before I begin, I want to thank you all for all the birthday wishes yesterday. I want to once again shout out my fellow Pisces people out there. And I want to thank the new subscribers yesterday, which did get me to 5,000 subscribers. A great birthday present. So, very thankful for that. As for today's episode of Beyond the Gates, I mean, not my favorite. I guess an episode where you got the likes of Tomas, Ashley, Derek, Jacob, Naomi. Not exactly the A team, and the only other story was like Leslie and Eva, and they're not exactly must see TV these days. So it was a bit of a struggle episode today. I want to kind of call it a filler episode, which most soap operas do their filler episodes on Wednesdays. It's better than having a filler Friday, in my opinion. But today, actually, it wasn't that much of a filler episode. The Jacob storyline had a lot going on today. I don't know if it was executed well. I guess we should probably start with that since it was the main thing. Jacob was undercover in his alley today, calling Elon on his burner phone, which I don't know if he should be doing that, or I don't even know if it was his burner phone, but it seemed like it was. Elon wants Jacob to make it through this assignment safe. Elon has been doubting Jacob this whole time, and I think for kind of good reason. We've never, unfortunately, seen Jacob be a very good cop, so I can understand Elon's concerns, and I don't even know if they're writing Jacob as really that great at being undercover or doing good undercover work right now, because he's supposed to be kind of hard, out in an alley, and Jacob's acting hood isn't the greatest. Jacob comes across as about as hood as I am, which is not very much. So Jacob is struggling, in my opinion, doing this undercover work. I feel like he looks like a fish out of water out in that alley, that dark alley, in his hats and his hoodies, and yeah, I don't think it's he looks like he's playing the part of this runner for this blood plasma ring that's going on. Anyway, we'll get back to Jacob, but Elon talked to Naomi today. That was a lot of today's episode. It was Elon telling Naomi his concerns for Jacob, thinking that maybe Jacob is not ready for the undercover work. Maybe Naomi can talk to Jacob about this, or maybe he can convince Naomi that Jacob is not ready for this. But I'm like, Elon, if you didn't think that your son was ready to go do undercover work, then you're the chief and you could just not had it let it happen. But I also feel like I guess Elon feels like Jacob has earned his place to go undercover right now. Elon did not like hearing about Jacob and Naomi having burner phones and thinks that Jacob is being reckless. But Naomi wants Elon to be the leader that Jacob needs right now and not show doubts if Jacob is going to stay undercover, because it might not work out good for Jacob if he feels like his father is doubting him too much. Jacob was out in the alley today. Some guy first approached him thinking he was selling drugs. And so Jacob kind of threatened the guy to get him to back off. Then Jacob ran into his brother Izaiah in the sketchy alley, which is what we talked about on Sunday in the preview for the week. And I still felt like Izaiah was being sketchy, and it was sketchy that he was there. But with this show, it could just be a fake out. Jacob wanted to know why Izaiah was out in the bad area, saying he hasn't been there since Izaiah had to be bailed out by their father years ago. Isaiah's excuse was he was there for food because one of the places around there has one of the best sweet and sour pork, I guess. Jacob seemed to be okay with that excuse. I don't know if I'm reading too much into it and Isaiah is going to be a bigger part of this story. I kind of hope so. It would be more interesting. It would make Isaiah more interesting, and he might actually be the bad boy that the show pretends that he is. But we'll see. Isaiah ended up running into Naomi and they chatted about Jacob's undercover assignment. And Isaiah tried to give Naomi a good pep talk before Eva arrived to spend some time with him. But I also felt like when Eva was talking about that she's glad that Isaiah isn't a cop and that he's in education and she don't have to worry about him. Isaiah was acting sketchy again, as if he may be involved with something sketchy. So we'll see. Hopefully, Isaiah being a part of the story today means something big for Isaiah in the future. Because if not, then today kind of was a filler episode. At the end of the episode, Jacob was talking to one of the other guys working with him for the Impaler, and Jacob's trying not to get on the Impaler's bad side. I don't know if we're building towards Jacob getting hurt or even getting killed, which would be worse. But I do feel like the stakes are going to have to be raised in this storyline to make it more interesting. So either something's going to have to happen to Jacob or Smitty or maybe even June, which some people are going to hate if that happens. But someone in the comments yesterday was talking about they heard rumors that June might be in trouble with this story. I don't know if that's the case. I do want to give a shout out to Kaiwan, who I saw in the chat post that Wesley character yesterday could maybe be Samantha and Tyrell's father with June. They did seem very close. Maybe they do have more of a history. I hope Kaiwan is right about that. I think that would be a good idea, mostly because I like the actor that played Wesley, and I hope it's not the last we saw of him. This show, though, doesn't do things and then forget about them. I mean, some might say they forget about the fact that Laura was ran down, but that's not true. They always bring up the fact that Leslie's accused of doing that, and Laura comes back every now and then and also reminds us. So I think they might follow back up with Wesley, but we'll see. That was kind of the only part of the episode I cared about. Eva and Leslie were out today. Eva was trying to get Leslie to realize she needs certificates to start her free clinic, one of which is like for the fire department. Leslie wanted Eva to work for the free clinic and would give her a big fat raise, but Eva does not want to quit her job and stop working for Ted. I did like Leslie's line about how Eva working for Ted, working for BBL patients, doesn't compare to the good work at the free clinic. But then Derek arrived and overheard Leslie making a phone call trying to get the certificate, and it went very badly. Derek made a comment that she's clueless and then tried to talk to her about the fire certificate. Eva wanted Leslie to hire Derek, and Derek said Leslie said she tried with Derek and he didn't want it. And then Derek and Leslie started sparring again. Derek once again calling Leslie out for running down women last year. Leslie said she was never charged for running down one woman. So Leslie was very obvious in those scenes, goading Derek on that she was guilty of running down Laura. But when Leslie left, Derek apologized to Eva for being harsh on her mom, saying she doesn't. Well, Derek said he doesn't like Leslie and doesn't trust her, but he's medically retired from firefighting, so he needs a job. And he said if he can report to Eva and report to Eva only, then he will work for Leslie. But Eva's not even a part of the free clinic, so I don't know how that's going to work. I don't mind this weird hate relationship between Derek and Leslie. They usually get some good one-liners at each other, but it wasn't exactly dramatic today. And speaking of not dramatic at all, the Kat and Tomas relationship is just so ass. Like, it was hard for me to watch them today. They are so boring together. They talked about moving in together. Tomas doesn't want her to. I don't even know why Kat was concerned about being homeless. For somebody who acts as uppity as Kat acts, she should be able to get her own place, but I guess she needed Tomas to talk her into that because Tomas only wants Kat to move in if it's for the right reasons and not because Kat is concerned about being a third wheel to Chelsea and Madison, who are going to get married. So they started looking at places together. I really hate this relationship on the show, and I honestly I've talked about this in the past, and we're going to bring it up again. This show has to find better stories for Kat and Eva because they're two great actresses, but they're only either involved in stories with each other, which is so old and redundant with their rivalry, or they stick Kat with Tomas, where there's just no chemistry, no emotions from Tomas, just totally boring television. And then poor Eva's always stuck with Leslie, which is kind of stale itself. So I would like for better for those two characters, but I feel like I've been asking that for like 6 months now, and it hasn't really happened. The only other thing on today was Ashley and Shanice. Shanice was giving Ashley a gift for her first year at the hospital. It has been 1 year since Ashley started working at the hospital because that was the first week of shows last year. And then Derek came in and let Ashley and Shanice know that he's going to be working for their free clinic. And then I forgot, Leslie came to the station, the police station, looking for Marcel, who was not there, and she shared some scenes with Elon, but didn't really move any story. So, yeah, today was not the best episode. I'll give it a pass because most soap operas do put their Wednesday episodes to be the filler episodes. But if Friday is also a filler episode, then I'm going to be upset. So, unless you're a big fan of the Impaler storyline, which is not exactly building up that well right now, it was kind of a take it or leave it sort of episode today.